Do you know what gift you should value from your partner the most? The support that you never even knew you needed. Can I tell you about yesterday? Yesterday marked 21 years since my father passed away. Now that's something I haven't talked about much in the past 21 years. Each year as this anniversary comes along, I go to work, I just live life. I don't talk to my coworkers about it. There's no social media posts. I don't even talk to my children about it unless they bring it up. I'm about 20 miles out driving from Oklahoma to Texas before I arrive to Josh, and I'm on the phone with him as I typically am during this drive. And I don't know what made me do it, but I said, hey, do you know what today is? Knowing there was no way he was going to know what today was. He said, no, what is it? I said, today marks 21 years since my father passed away. He said, well, how do you feel about that? I said, well, I miss my parents because they're both gone. I would do anything for them to be getting on my nerves right now. I said, but I'm mostly at peace about my father's death because he was very ill when he passed away and he suffered severely. So the way I've allowed myself to kind of come to peace with it is to think that he's no longer suffering, but I don't like talking about it. He said, well, I don't really think you've come to peace with it. And I said, well, I just told you I did. He said, I know what you told me, but you followed that up with that you don't talk about it and you don't like to talk about it. And with that invitation, I go ahead and I start talking to him about my dad's last days. In the middle of that, he kind of stops me and he does something odd. He says, I'm going to keep talking, I'm listening to your story, but I'm going to run up to Walmart and get some oranges. I said, well, I'm only 20 minutes out, so why don't you just wait and we can just go together? He goes, no, I don't want to keep getting in and out, in and out. And I said, okay, well, whatever. So as you can imagine, now that he's getting in and out of the car and in the store, his background is getting a little chaotic. If I'm going to be honest, I was a little annoyed. So I just kind of gave up on the story and I was like, hey, I'll just talk to you when I get there. He goes, okay, well, I'll call you when I get back in the car. He calls me when he gets back in the car and he says, are you ready to finish your story? I said, no, it was mostly over anyway. He says, and now I'm about 5 minutes out. And he says, okay, well, I'm going to clean the bathroom before you get here, which is normal. And I said, fine. So usually when that happens, he knows I've arrived. He meets me at the car to unload the car. Well, he didn't do that. I get to the door, I'm knocking on the door, and he's like, hold on just a second. And then he says, let me get these gloves off, hold on. And I was like, okay. So he comes to the door and the house is entirely dark. And I was like, what are you doing? He was like, what do you mean? And he's just kind of being odd. And I noticed that there's balloons on the floor. And I was like, what are you doing? I said, well, here, I'm going to push this stuff in and I'm going to go get the rest of the stuff out of the car. He goes, no, just come in, just come in. And I couldn't identify what was going on. Now, mind you, I was still feeling a little annoyed because I felt like he was very dismissive of me trying to talk to him about my father. He chose to go get oranges. Well, it turns out he wasn't being dismissive at all. What he was doing was creating a platform for me to be able to talk to him openly about my father, and in a way that I had not been able to with anyone in 21 years. So he guides me into the house, the dark house, and leads me to our office. And when we go into the office, I see this. Remember I told you that I had told him about this when I was 20 minutes out. So he had to do whatever he could do to get it together. So he never went to Walmart. He went to a party shop to get these balloons, 21, and this Post-it that says, I have her now, Pops, rest in peace, happy 21 years. He provided a safe space for me to communicate with him, and he made it possible to celebrate my dad's life. He made it into a celebration. He created a memory, a happy one, of something that was a tragedy to me 21 years ago, and I've been avoiding communicating about ever since. He provided me with some support that I didn't even realize I needed. I thought I had it under control. I thought that I was at peace with my father passing away. It was 21 years ago. And last night, after 21 years, I finally truly got closure with my father passing away. That is the gift that I will cherish from Josh the most, is the fact that he gave me something that I didn't even know I needed. He gave me support when I didn't even realize I needed it. He was there for me when I didn't even realize I needed someone. Love your partners. Know your partner.